to SMNI. You're watching Business and Politics. I'm your host, Dante Klinkang. Our topic tonight is water, which people equate with life itself. Based on government reports, about 11 million Filipinos still lack access to clean water. Many households still rely on deep wells, lakes, and even spring water for drinking and sanitation. That, of course, has implications on public health and poverty. And not long ago, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announced a policy saying that more of the country's supply should come from surface water rather than from aquifers. At the forefront of implementing that directive is LUA, or the Local Water Utilities Administration. It is a government-owned and controlled corporation with a specialized standing function mandated by law to promote and oversee the development of water supply systems outside of Metro Manila. LUA is headed by an administrator who is currently Attorney Vicente Vince REVIL. Before his appointment to his post, he served in his home province of Masbate, initially as provincial board member, later as vice governor, and from 2015 to 2016 as governor. He received a number of awards during his political tenure, including the Outstanding Governor and Outstanding Public Servant Award in 2016. We'll ask Attorney REVIL, how does LUA plan to realize its vision of ensuring potable water in every household in the countryside? Attorney? Attorney REVIL, welcome po to Business and Politics. Thank you for making time. Sir, may I call you Vince?
Yes, thank you, Klink, for inviting me in your program. And it's an honor to be here. And we'll be talking about water. So it's business and politics. And let's talk more about water and how our agency can help in developing the system of water for our country.
All right. So, sir, you know, water really is a global issue. It's not just the Philippines. No? But if you can just bring us up to speed, right? I know you've only been in your office a few months. I think the first time we met, you had just really just started your job. And it's been a couple of months now. It's still not a long time. But what did you see? What is the challenge for the Philippines? What does the president want to do about it? And I know there are many players in the president's team. But what role does LUA play in that plan? Maybe what the problem is.
Yeah, when I assumed the office a few months ago, our president is very much into the water, and he wants to ensure that there's water security for our nation.
Water security.
And that is his mandate that he wants us to do in our agency at the Local Water Utilities Administration. So we heed to that call, and together with all the water districts throughout the country, let this be clear that LUA is a GOCC, it's a government-owned and controlled corporation.
Right.
And we are operating together with the water districts outside of the Metro Manila.
Right.
So there are now 532 water districts throughout the country.
Okay.
And in response to the call of the president, we would like to ensure that there's enough water for our people. And how do we do this? We are institutionalizing everything. We're providing financing for the support of the projects. And we are also helping with the technical and engineering services. And most of all, we're ensuring that they're compliant, because we are doing the regulation for these water districts to ensure that the water is safe, affordable, and sustainable. So we can ensure that there's enough water for every Filipino.
Right. You were talking earlier, and I didn't realize that this year you're celebrating your 50th anniversary. So the GOCC LUA was actually created by the president's father. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so it's interesting that now our current president wants to finish a job that his father started. Is that an accurate way to put it?
Yes, it's been 50 years. LUA had been there for the past 50 years, since 1973.
Okay.
By the virtue of the brainchild of the father of our president, Ferdinand Marcos Sr., it was created through Presidential Decree 198.
Right.
This is to ensure that how we manage water for our countries, that it should be done in such a manner that it should be run like a corporate, and at the same time there must be a social cost that goes with it, and we are ensuring that it should be developed for the entire country. And 50 years ago, we have seen the growth, and we have seen that it is still very much important that we should focus more of our activities here to ensure that LUA, together with the water districts, would continue in ensuring that we are serving our people with safe water, and at the same time, ensuring that it should be properly done in a way that the used water should be still reused and it can still be part of our sanitation. So yes, it's been there for the past 50 years. It's coming September.
Okay.
We are celebrating the anniversary of LUA.
So 50 years now, 50 years onward. Now, where are we at? Was my number earlier correct that there are still about 11 million households? Is that consistent with the figures that you have at LUA? Because I think that figure came from NWRB, the National Water Resource Board. Is that an accurate figure? Because I think when you start something, there's a management concept that you start with the problem. Is that consistent with what you've found out? What's the situation?
Yes, unfortunately in our country, we have about almost 113 million population.
Right, and growing fast.
And growing fast,
Yeah.
yes. So about 11 million of which they are located in the far areas of our country.
Okay.
And well, we have to go first to the very issue at hand.
Sure.
We are an archipelago.
Right.
And because of that, there are places in which they are abundant. They're abundantly supplied with water.
Okay.
It's a God-given resource.
Right.
But then there are some places in our country, because we're an island,
Right.
there are no water in those places. And some of them, they stay in the mountains.
Right.
And that is also a challenging part in looking for water. But on the other smaller islands especially, they have to go and cross another island just to
Get
fetch
water.
water, to get
Wow.
water. I came from a small province and,
Masbate,
and I know this real situation in the ground. That's why my experience says that we should help all our fellow brothers and sisters, Filipinos, that everybody should have water for our country, that no one should really be left behind.
Right.
So,
What does water security mean for LUA? Because there's some specific things in your mandate, and we were talking about it earlier, that it's not just mere access to a water supply, but you're focusing on linking households, and you were calling that Tier 3 or Level 3. Could you explain, in that context, water security?
for us at LUA, together with the water districts, we are serving through the Level 3 service of water for our country.
Okay.
It means that we are serving through faucet directly to the household, through pipelines and faucet directly to the household.
Right.
And in our country, we're serving now about 22.3 million of our population, or about 5.6 million of our population.
Right.
So, however, for levels 1 and 5.6 million household of our population, if you're going to convert that 22.3 million population to household. So, as regards to levels 1 and 2, let us be clear that for level 1, it is the point source. Or yung mga balon, or where they are using poso. And at the same time, on the level 2, it means that there's communal water in which
like for the barrio
or barrio,
sitio,
they only have one common faucet for everyone, common well for everyone. So on us for the level 3, this is the most this is the ideal service of water to our people. Because by providing, if we're going to say it should be safe, it should be affordable, it should be accessible to, and sustainable way of serving water to our people. So this is what we envision for the entire country, that our service should be coming from the source. There's an ample source of water. It should be transmitted through pipelines. It should be treated, and it should be directly served to the household of our population.
So when you say that your goal or the president's goal is water security, does that mean level 3, or is level 1 sufficient, or what's the directive here from the president?
The directive is that no one should be left behind. So all the members of all the Filipino people should be provided with water.
I see. So either 1, 2, or 3.
1, 2, or 3.
But you want to focus on level 3. That
is the mandate of LUA together with the water districts.
I see.
Our mandate is to provide level 3 water system for our communities.
How do you classify, household? Because even in Metro Manila, admittedly, there are households that still use deep wells, right? So that doesn't. Is that a concern? I know your mandate is communities outside, right, of Metro Manila. But for households that rely on a deep well, is that also a concern of LUA? Because I think what you want to do is bring them into the fold of the local water district. Is that correct?
Our president.
Sorry for the ignorant questions here, but I think
president wanted to ensure that we have a more sustainable way of supplying water for our population.
Okay.
However, in our entire country, a lot of our water supplies is derived from the groundwater.
Right.
Again, as I've said earlier, not all are near the rivers.
Sure.
Not all are near the lakes.
Yeah.
That there's ample water that they can supply to their households.
Yeah.
But then during this administration, we have been talking for the past weeks that we want to develop the river basins for our country.
Okay.
Because we have a very good role model like our neighboring countries like Korea. They're just always developing their surface water.
Okay.
So there's a lot of talks now about developing the Pampanga River Basin or the Santa Luzon River to ensure that there's enough supply. There's a talk to put more water impoundments and to ensure that the rivers will be used properly for domestic use.
Correct.
And it should, and if ever we're going to build infrastructures, it should be multi-purpose. So it should be for domestic use or what is needed by the households, by the people.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's for agriculture, and our president during his son also had been intently talking about water and food security and agriculture. And the third layer will be also about if we can come up with hydropower plants. So it should be multi-purpose. All our acts should be put together to ensure that in developing our water, it should be comprehensive enough.
Right. Now, it's interesting because you come to this job with a perspective from the local government. You served in Masbate, provincial board member, vice governor, then eventually governor. And you were saying that did you say that even in your province there are some remote areas where people had to travel some distance just to can you talk about that? Is that because in Metro Manila we don't it's kind of hard to imagine sometimes for people in Metro Manila, Metro Cebu, to imagine that this still happens in the Philippines, right?
I am born and raised from D.
Okay.
So I know the life in the provinces. So in our province, there are islands that they don't really have water.
Okay.
So they still fetch or they get their water from the mainland.
I see.
So even if we go to their barangays in these islands, we have to bring water to ensure that these are the services that we can provide for them. Though there are technologies that can be introduced, that like desalination, but it comes with a huge price, of course.
The cost,
There's technology, but there's a price that goes with it. So that is where the opportunity will happen someday that we have to look into. So again, these are when you introduced earlier that about 11 million of our population does not have water is because of our conditionality, which we are an archipelago. A lot of islands does not have water, and some who lives in the mountains, some of them also lack water. So that is our reality in the ground. So because of this, our president wants to have a comprehensive way of approaching our development of water. Okay. So that's on the part of LUA and the water districts, we're developing the level 3 directly to the households. But on the other areas, there's a point source development that there must be in the barangays of the hinterlands or in the islands, they should really look for sources of water. But again, going back to the directive of the president, he wants to ensure that our surface water should be properly and optimally developed for our population.
Attorney REVIL, it's very interesting. We'll just have to take a quick break. You're watching This is Politics. We'll be right back.